think you know Mickey,
Right here.
but there's a side you've probably never connected to that smiling face on lunchboxes and theme park signs. The side where your image gets banned, twisted into propaganda, turned into protest art, and dragged through courtrooms. You'll hear cases from the 1930s to underground comics and modern TV satire, each one showing how a cartoon can become a political tool. This isn't just about cute animation, it's about power, politics, and the mess that comes with fame. And sometimes that mess starts with finding out you're suddenly not welcome in an entire country
No.
when a cartoon becomes a threat. Sometimes the trouble starts with nothing more than a reel of film. In 1930, Germany, the Board of Film Censors banned the 1929 short The Barnyard Battle. Their official reason: they said it could reawaken anti-German feeling lingering since the First World War. The sight of a plucky mouse in uniform taking on cats in spiked German-style helmets read to them as a not-so-subtle jab at their military. You might have thought you were mocking the whole idea of war, but to officials still guarding national pride, those marching gags and cartoon helmets looked a little too pointed. So the short stayed in the vault, at least in Germany. There was no big trial, no headline-grabbing showdown. The film was simply kept out of theaters. In practice, that meant many people there never saw it at all. A silly 6-minute cartoon had, at least in one country, crossed into the realm of political sensitivity without ever intending to. By 1935, you'd managed to upset another set of gatekeepers, this time in Romania. The official line was oddly specific. Romanian authorities reportedly feared children might be frightened by the sight of a giant mouse on the cinema screen. Not your antics or your slapstick pratfalls, just the idea of a mouse the height of a grown man looming over you in the dark. So, out you went, for the sake of the nation's youngest moviegoers. As the decade wore on, reactions to your round-eared face became even more tangled in politics. By the mid-1930s, some pro-Nazi publications in Germany went beyond simple dislike, calling you the greatest bacteria carrier in the animal kingdom, and a product of what they called Jewish brutalization of the people. To them, you weren't just an American export, they saw you as a cultural contaminant. In their propaganda playbook, an innocent-looking mouse could still be wielded as proof of national decline. Then came Mussolini's Italy, where your status shifted with the political tide. In 1938, a new law banned foreign children's literature, but Disney characters, including you, were granted an exception for their acknowledged artistic merit. That ruling kept you in Italian publications when other foreign icons vanished from shelves. But the reprieve didn't last forever. Once Italy entered World War II in 1942, American stories were out. Italian publishers replaced you with Tufolino, a human character who looked suspiciously like you but checked the not from the enemy box. After the fall of the fascist government in 1945, you were quietly welcomed back. Through all of this, one thing became clear. You weren't just a set of cartoons. You carried baggage, whether you wanted it or not. Some governments treated you as cultural sugar worth importing. Others saw you as ideological poison. Either way, you became a byword for the reach of American entertainment and the unease it could spark abroad. And it didn't stop there. Once political forces had played tug-of-war with your image, others began to see new uses for it.
Yeah, boy.
Less about banning, and more about bending you into something else entirely. That's when the real transformations began. From mascot to meme to middle finger. You start as the lovable troublemaker, steering riverboats and outsmarting cartoon cats. Mischief in your smile. Adventure in your step. Kids everywhere eating cereal out of bowls with your face on them. Then the war ends. The world reshapes. Suddenly, you're promoted from scrappy hero to full-time corporate mascot. No more dynamite gags or barroom brawls.
You viper!
Now you're the spotless, smiling brand stamped on lunchboxes, watches, and the gates of a theme park. You've made it. But making it puts a bright red target on those round ears. When you're that polished, artists itch to scuff the shine. Soon, the underground comes calling, and not to make you cute. In 1969, an underground anti-war short used Mickey as a corpse. No subtlety, just shock. turning the mouse into a protest symbol. Mickey Mouse in Vietnam lasts less than a minute. You take a recruiter's pen, ship out, and seconds later you're dead. That cheerful face designed to comfort and sell becomes a blunt weapon against the war. 2 years later, the Air Pirates, comic artists led by Dan O'Neill, put you into explicit adult comics in Air Pirates Funnies. These weren't sly nods. They dropped you into scenes your official handlers would torch on sight. Disney sued, and after years of appeals, the court ordered O'Neill to pay about $1.9 million, an outcome still debated by free speech advocates. It was a clear example of how your global fame makes you easy to parody and critique, while Disney fights hard to guard your image, from lawsuits like this to lobbying for longer copyrights. That tension between cultural free-for-all and corporate control keeps playing out. Decades later, South Park depicts you as a shrill, profit-hungry CEO, stomping over anyone in the way of ticket sales. The Simpsons movie slips in a jab, calling you the mascot of an evil corporation.
I'm the mascot of an evil corporation. Get down from there.
No setup needed. Audiences already know who you are. Once your image is everywhere, it belongs to everyone with a point to make. Even research circles have a name for you: the Mickey Mouse problem. How can people see a character with reality-bending powers and endless resilience, yet not treat him like an all-powerful being? Science aside, kids still put more trust in your word than in actual experts, at least in some experiments. A familiar voice in red shorts beats a stranger with a PhD, all thanks to branding woven deep into childhood. The legal story hasn't ended either. Early versions of you have now entered the US public domain, but Disney still protects later designs and trademarks. Which means you're both free to copy, in part, and fiercely off-limits depending on the year and the version. It's messy, and it keeps lawyers busy. Some people see you as joy wrapped in nostalgia. Some see you as a symbol of American consumer culture steamrolling the local. Others slap your face on protest art to stand in for greed, war, or empire. Same mouse, different meaning. And none of those meanings are yours to control. Corporate mascot, protest symbol, legal battleground? What does it feel like to be a living logo? The answer isn't simple. Metaphorically, the bigger your face gets, the more it becomes everyone's billboard. At first, you're steering your own story. Then one day, you're not a character. You're a blank wall for other people's messages. Just ask the Air Pirates how far they pushed that, and how hard Disney pushed back. So here's the takeaway. The image you see on every shelf, screen, and street corner isn't just decoration. It's a cultural vector, carrying ideas and arguments you might not even notice. Which cartoon do you think could survive being turned into a political symbol? Tell me in the comments.